what does that mean? That we cannot ignore this segment of the population. We are here to celebrate our Youth Week, and there is a theme which is talking about youth empowerment for a sustainable future. And when we are talking about a sustainable future, we cannot talk about a sustainable future without talking about issues of climate change. So let me take this opportunity, first of all, to appreciate all the partners who are supporting celebration of this week. There are quite a number. I'll just mention a few. The Ministry of Water and Environment, particularly the Climate Change Department, is supporting the youth to celebrate this week. We have the Environment and Natural Resources CSO Network, which is hosted at Environmental Labs. We have Emily, we have Fit-Up Plus, the Girl Guides, CANU, Rexo, and many others. Thank you so much for standing with the youth. I appreciate the European Union that has funded this dialogue today. We have a project called Our World, Our Planet, this one. And we implement this project in partnership with other agencies, one of which is WeWorld. It's based in Italy. We also work with Sudwin, it's based in Austria, and many other partners. Some of them are in Kenya and Tanzania. But I also appreciate UNODC, Alejandra. Thank you so much for accepting to come to be with us. But also we are just starting a new project with funding from the European Union through UNODC on forest crime. And we are going to engage so much with the youth and women. How can we work with the youth and women to fight forest crime? And she will be telling us a little bit more about that project. So we are happy to be here, and thank you so much for your contribution. We are providing space for you to learn from each other so that you can shape a better future. So next, after the recent engagements where they were talking about digital tools of how the youth can engage. So next, we are asking ourselves if we are to continue these dialogues, if we are to continue this engagement. At the end of today, we would like to know from you, so that you will also help us to organize better and ensure that whatever we are discussing or whatever workshops, online engagements that are coming next, that they really respond to your needs. So please let us know before we leave here the kind of topics that you would like us to focus on in the next discussions. And then that will help us also to identify then who the facilitators can be for those topics. So I'll end it here. Thank you so much once again for coming, and I look forward to the discussions and deliberation.
And the ENRCSO Youth Representative. I'm so delighted to be with you all here. And as we discuss matters of the youth, can I have a hi from the youth below 25? Nevertheless, we are all youth here. Nevertheless. As we've all heard from the previous speakers, Uganda is a youthful nation with over 78% of its population under the age of 30. Yet 4.5% of these youth are unemployed. And it is evident that these are critical stakeholders in stewardship of our nation's abundant natural resources, starting from wetlands, forests, and biodiversity. Young Ugandans are affected by land degradation, climate change, and pollution. Yet their energy, creativity, and local knowledge remain underleveraged in formal decision-making processes. Young youth, what are the challenges that we meet? The challenges are sidelined due to generational stereotypes, a poor understanding of governance systems, and the economic exclusion in the resource-rich areas. The challenges that we meet are weak policy inclusion. You find that despite the national youth policy, youth still lack structured representation in the environmental policy platforms, including land and forestry governance, resulting in less participation rather than the formal inclusion. It is with note that most youth have limited land access. A polite question. Among youth here, does any of us own land? Or do they have any say on given piece of land in their community? Wow, that's so nice of you. She's one. Youth training in climate and policy governance. Let's fund and support youth-led activities. You will find very many youth deep down in villages having struggles with funding, and their projects come to last. Their projects don't last long due to limitations in the funding. And let us improve access to environmental information and participation channels. Many of us here are ignorant on how we can acquire land. And land grabbing is real. Youth have little say on that because they are ignorant. In my conclusion, Uganda's youth are not just tomorrow's leaders, but they are today's change makers. Let us act now to include, equip, and empower them. Our natural resources deserve nothing less than stewardship by all generations for all generations. Thank you.
But yeah, it's something we need to look at it from another perspective. But it's also very important, and I'm always happy. Let this not only be in Kampala here, but as you move also up country, the same kind of representations are all over. So that at least when you're talking, we also talk with, with power. Yeah, mine, I would talk almost the whole day if it involves the youth. Like I said, I've engaged most of you. I see very common faces. I think Mr. Bore, that was 2021? 2020. Yes, I think 2020 I was also still a youth. Yes, so there are common faces that I've had here. We've engaged them, some of them will build their capacity. That gentleman, if he's to talk, I think all of you at least you will wish him to talk for a whole day. I've listened to him, at least I've played a role in one way or the other. And I'm also sure he's doing the same to the other young people. When Vanessa was here, I don't know, we need to also understand where youth is. She mentioned clearly that you need to be 25 and below. So, I don't know how many of us are 25 and below here. Maybe that's a new law. Has it been amended? Yeah, but I think she's just saying that at that particular age we are very active And that's the kind of energy that we need if we are to address the issues related to climate change and natural resources management. At least when she said that how many youth groups or even diaspora representations have initiatives which are related to environment management, climate change, and among others. So the one lady, I don't know, maybe others are shy to talk about what they're doing, but I know all of us here, we are engaged in different activities. Others are here to learn, also use it as an opportunity to come up with the different initiatives in terms of addressing this challenge that we are faced with today. Yeah, so my word would be a word of encouragement. I know issues related to the youth is actually a very complex issue. And for your information, when I was going to work, I was called by the commissioner that I need to come and represent in this engagement. Then when he told me, I asked him, what event is this? So you say, for you're already old. Me, I'm young. Let's just have that enabling environment where we can have these conversations, whether you're young or old. Of course, with the composition, that one, we cannot run away from it, as the previous or the ED talked about, that we, or the youth, we comprise of around 77% of the total 45.6 million. So we need to actually show that we exist, not just in complaining, but by doing some things that challenges the so-called old people. We need to engage them. We need to engage them. They also pass on the knowledge, and I think that's why some of us are here. Pass on the knowledge, but as we talk, we are also learning from. Must be continuity. And I think that's why we exist. So let's harness all these different opportunities. They exist, enormous, by the way. Something that I don't want to forget also as government is that we are engaging the youth. We give them technical support. And then, in terms of financials, their youth group, we want you to come when you're organized. At least that I've talked about that years and over again, that the challenge that I see with us today, or the youth, or the young people, is that I think we are a little bit not organized. We are a little bit not organized. You can see, I asked about the training. In the whole house, only 2 people attended that training. And it's something I emphasize also to the other group. So what did we, or what plans do we have in place? Is that we are taking the MOU way to at least have sort of, to concretize our engagement with the youth. But even that MOU, you'd hear this group is complaining. By the way, there are so many groups. I don't know if all of you are.
Yeah, most of you, I believe, you've participated. The CEO Forum and all other platforms. Our cardinal duty is to make sure that we leave no one behind. And therefore, we have mobilized grassroots organizations, but outspeak youth-led organizations contributing to different SDGs. We have 80 active youth-led organizations, and we've made sure that we cluster them into different thematic areas, and one of them is climate and environment. The representative from Ministry of Water stated that the young people are not organized. Our role is to organize them, and we are organizing them. And as we talk, we have very many young people with substance. The Edwins are all part of our group that we've nurtured. Many of them have gone on to shine, like the Nabuma, Shamim, the Denise are now shining out there, the Vanessa Nakates are all our products. So we have organized them. Our mandate is to bring on more young people. That's why we are working more in schools and universities to recruit more of them. We believe in enhancing capacities and building grassroots resilience. That's why we are making sure that as you recruit, you must train. Because if you don't train them, then you are not helping them. So we've made sure that we work with the UN agencies that have the resources. Like UNICEF, we have trained around 5 cohorts of climate activists who come up with innovative ways. And one of our products is actually Eldite. They came through our training over UNICEF cohort, and now they've been able to form a CSO, and they are manufacturing products for water heights. And recently they were captured by the Daily Euro of the product they are producing. We've trained youth-led organizations into nature-based solutions to attract them into environmental conservation, and while they are also earning. Where the money is where the heart is. If we don't show people that there is money in environmental conservation, they will certainly not come on board. But if we show them that there is money in biodiversity conservation, there is money in beekeeping, there is money in smart agriculture, certainly they will come on board. So we've trained them into nature-based solutions.
Courtroom approach, so we work at all stages of the interdiction chain. So addressing the issue from the roots, causes, so looking at prevention efforts, then looking at detection, working with law enforcement and other frontline actors to detect these crimes. Then we have interdiction, engaging not only law enforcement but also communities and other forest users in this. Then we have investigation, so all our work with the security sector and law enforcement sector to investigate these crimes using what we call an intelligence-led approach, because of course, when the crime has been committed, it's already too late for us. The trees have been lost, or wildlife has been lost, the biodiversity has been lost, so the investigation is more about using an intelligence-led approach so that we prevent these crimes from happening in the first place. And then of course we have prosecution and adjudication, so we work with prosecutors and judicial officers to better handle these crimes and to create a deterrent effect, so that the penalties and sentences that are imposed when these crimes are handled in the courts are strong enough to prevent people from being repeat offenders and going back to the force. So, and now, just to mention very briefly about the UNODC project and how we were able to bring on board Environmental Alert to support us in implementing this project. So this project, it's known as the Combating Deforestation and Forest Degradation in Uganda through the Criminal Justice System Project. It's funded by the European Union under a broader EU-Uganda forest partnership. So in this partnership, we also have other implementing partners, namely the Food and Agriculture Organization, the Italian Cooperation Agency, and the Ministry of Water and Environment, very ably represented here by Mr. Bob Kazungu, the Commissioner, who acts as the overall coordinator and monitoring authority of the partnership. So UNODC specifically, given our mandate, we are looking at strengthening the legislation, so working with the different national authorities to revise and strengthen the laws to combat forest crimes. We're also looking at capacity building, so for the investigation, detection, and prosecution of these crimes. So this is working with law enforcement and judiciary to handle these crimes more effectively through the criminal justice system. Then, of course, we have some work on preventing corruption. And here it's about working to enhance the
initiatives, but in most cases, the youth lack information because there are no proper channels for that information to reach the different particular youth. You know, it's very easy to identify with a huge group and blame them and tease them out as failures or stuff, because maybe the way we communicate to them is wrong, or maybe we don't know how to identify with them, so many times we say they are not well mobilized or organized, but young people actually mobilize. In other spaces where they are mobilized well, many times probably there are those elements of maybe exploitation, especially by politicians, because they know where to find them, and they promise them a lot. The issues with tokenism as a junior right of politics. But I think in terms of these efforts, we need to be more intentional about working with young people. If the intention is not there, you keep on counting them in terms of numbers, asking a few or comparing them with a few individuals as their representatives. But many times, probably those representatives are quite good marketers, but they are not actually reaching out to the young people. So we need to be more intentional about coming to develop programs that are for young people.
Human rights, was awarded as Uganda's most impactful and most outstanding human rights environmental rights defender. But also, I want to speak to the need to engage different stakeholders, because time and again, the us versus them approach seems to no longer work. I think we need to be deliberate, and I was inspired by Samba's submission that we must engage government departments, ministries, departments, and agencies. Personally, I think the department we need to deliberately engage is the Parliament of Uganda. Because when you look at, for example, the Parliament of Uganda, it has two committees: the Natural Resources and Environment Committee, headed by the Honorable Albert Aliko, and the Climate Change Committee, headed by Honorable Songa Rollins. We must be deliberate in engaging that institution, because it's our house. Bob was always talking about young people fighting to join that house, but we must be deliberate in engaging them, both at the committee level but also at the house level. Just last year we had an environmental session on environment called the Environment Parliament, and myself, I was honored to be chosen to preside over that Environment Parliament session, where we were able to unpack some of the issues, for example, disaster risk reduction, issues of waste management, and issues of reform, legal and policy reform, especially on how we can cascade and mainstream integrated approach towards climate change.
If you went on leave, you can ask somebody to take charge of your responsibilities appropriately. He talks about his boss, Gasta, and the fact that he can now speak when there's a lot of conflict when he's not there. So it is sort of a mentoring. You may not be brought on paper as mentoring, but that's the mentoring strategy that Gasta probably is doing. But you're also interested in being mentored. You know, sometimes we're facing a challenge that some young people don't want to learn. They're chasing after money. I'm being very sincere with you. They're chasing after money. If there are no field activities in the offices, they're very annoyed with government. And so sometimes it becomes a problem. What do we do? What do we do to make sure that we have peace, intergenerational, reduce intergenerational conflict? Because I think we need to look at it differently, to appreciate the mere fact that something is being done is a good opportunity for you to move forward. I know of the youth who have benefited from, mentoring programs, that they have become mentors themselves now. They are mentoring other people, and they're really causing a mark moving forward. But talk about the policies. I mean, every time we say we need to review the policy, but I think one of the challenges that we're facing is that even you look at the National Youth Policy, we have not implemented most of the things meetings, and I think we need now to implement this policy. And who is going to implement this policy? You know, when a policy has been formulated, it's out there for implementation by everybody, including non-state actors. So sometimes we're looking for policy review. I think we need to do an amendment. No, but when we look at the national youth policy, you'll be amazed if we could just implement a half of that policy.